Welcome back. I'm Tyler, you're watching Scarfing Scarves, and welcome to the 18th installment of Last Week Lolita News. At the top of the segment... Beetlejuice! Is it gone? No? Fuck me. In fact, not only is it not gone, it's currently up for sale for the US equivalent of roughly $1,800. Convicts' kids need something to wear too, and while I might have paused a little at the idea of take your daughter to prison day, at least all that drug money will go to good use while your dad rots in jail for reasons completely unrelated to supporting a prison industrial complex full of privatization, guaranteed occupancy, and profiteering off the corruption and suffering condoned by the criminal justice system. The aforementioned of which reminds me that people have been sentenced to life for crimes less severe than whatever this is supposed to be. I just can't fucking do this anymore. I know AP's had some real bums in the past, but this is something Lady Gaga would likely hump before fashioning her hair into roughly the same shape, calling up Kiari Pamu, and participating in an international circle jerk so intense, TMZ would have to take half a second off covering tits to point their lenses at the love child of the most tacky aesthetic coupling the free world has ever seen, putting them right above mullets and anyone who thought jean coat jeans were cool. A real achievement all around, to be followed by the close fourth of the Lady Coco dress. This dress is $1,600, which would be forgivable for the most part if it hadn't been for this. Now, some of you might not know what's wrong with this picture. The short answer is everything. The long answer is this looks like a tablecloth pulled up by an overly energetic 6-year-old post-watching magic tricks performed by a middle-aged tool whose entire shtick relies on his audience members being too stupid not to wet their pants in the middle of show and tell. There's a bunch of stuffed bears floating in an endless sea of checkered blood. I'm pretty sure T doesn't stay put in whatever vacuous hellscape the designer saw fit to place it in, and to put that mouse-eared monstrosity on the head of that perfectly innocent model just adds insult to injury. I get it, they're bear ears, but no one should have to leave the house and anything Mickey Mouse would look twice at post a couple of shots in a travel-sized magic mountain. This isn't even to touch the random lamps, gifts, and baked goods having a nice anti-gravity gallivant in betwixt the teddy bears that look like they have a cotton explosion coming out of their butt. And the previous would be entirely acceptable if it weren't for the fact that Christmas is fast approaching, and this is apparently what we get for the holiday season. To which I can only say, don't you fuck me, angelic pretty. Don't you fuck me. Christmas is my absolute favorite holiday. I await your Xmas appropriate releases every year, and so help me if you think that a couple of zero-G teacups and some gift wrap is enough of a tribute to the best holiday that was ever co-opted by the kid toy industrial complex, then I will put my AP in a barrel, light it on fire, and send you smoke signal expletives until you get the point, or the fire department forces me to cease and desist. The latter of which could take a while since my neighbors are too blown on Xanax to deal with the reality of living long enough to see their dreams sucked into a swirling pit of 2.5 kids and a mortgage, and the former is just as unlikely since I'm a shameless AP addict that has no self-respect and will likely go back to huffing their every release the moment this video is done. So long as that release came out before 2012 or looks like the candy vomit sparkle shit they were once famous for. And it's pink. Meanwhile, Baby the Stars Shine Bright has skipped the holiday season entirely to move straight on to Valentine's Day, and no one cares about the Innocent World sale because Innocent World. Also, this isn't the most hideous thing I've ever seen from Metamorphose, so all in all, 2016 seems to be going out in a manner that doesn't leave me reaching for the nearest canister of bleach and paint thinner to dull the pain. Which is the exact words I would say if Christmas wasn't a week away and this reporter wasn't a member of a fashion community about as obscure to the average fuckwit as the concept that Apple products aren't made of fairy magic and futuristic glitter. They are made in factories where people would rather jump out of windows than work one more day assembling your shitty iPhone, but so long as you're happy, I'm sure the child slaves will wait at least one more day before imprinting the pavement just to finish production. That is, of course, if the nets don't catch them first, because that's so much cheaper than increasing their quality of life. Charming, isn't it? Kind of like the latest special segment of Last Week Lolita News, except not, because everything I do is about as charming as a horde of rabid Saint Bernards. Welcome to the Christmas Survival Guide. Lolita Edition. Rule 1. Prepare for Hello Kitty everything. Does it match your wardrobe? No? Does it look like anything that any grown woman would want so long as she's past the mental age wherein mouthless cat people in toddler's clothing wasn't a creepy concept to be avoided by the sane and well-adjusted? No! Are you going to be receiving it anyway because Aunt Martha attached onto the concept like a life vest after she saw you wear pink one time and she's desperately hoping this covers whatever embarrassing nonsense you're dressed as? Yes! Ida is not a concept that registers with a 55-year-old woman, and you may as well pose with your newly acquired backpack for the 5 seconds it will take her to get a picture before the straps cut off the circulations to your arm, leave you an amputee, and remind the entire world that freakish facial feature missing felines are best left to pint-sized human larvae. Some may call them toddlers, but I refuse to acknowledge the full agency of anything that is yet to develop the moral understanding of your average Russell Terrier. Fido may be taught not to take the cookie, but if you think your average 2-year-old wouldn't rip out your windpipe if given half the chance after being denied the same, then you're suffering under the delusion that you aren't dealing with a pint-sized psychopath until at least 8th grade. Rule number 2. You got it because Japan. It doesn't matter if your only interest in the land of an increasingly disturbing cephalopod fetish just so happens to begin and end with wearing dresses that might have delighted a Disney princess, if not for the fact that their terrifying body proportions would be the natural equivalent of shoving your average American in a space bag and crossing your fingers. You got those chopsticks because Japan. The Naruto headband came out of a last-ditch effort to appease you via Hot Topic, and while you might think that you got out easy with nothing more embarrassing than a pair of Sailor Moon socks and enough Pocky to please the appetite of a 12-year-old weeaboo, you will eventually have to live with the fact that your family likely groups you under the same tent as the types of people who like to get body pillows made of their favorite characters, lock the doors, and then deface the dignity of the entire human race. Murdering innocent hordes of people at Aleppo is one thing, but humping pillows is where I draw the line. Assuming your common decency hasn't kicked into the point that you've closed the window, given all you own to charity, and then snuffed it high on enough moral superiority to take out Mother Teresa herself, newsflash, that lady was no saint, you can still make some use of Rule 3. Which is Rule 3, there is no Rule 3. To which you might respond, but why? To which I might respond with, well, it might have something to do with the fact that there is a 1 in a million chance of you receiving anything remotely relevant to this fashion over the holiday season. Most of your relatives have all the working knowledge of a pack of deranged squirrels in a fabric shop full of rascal lace, and while I can't toss my hat into the ring as to just what kind of obnoxiously obtuse bullhorky they're going to throw your way at 4 a.m. that cold December morning, I can guarantee that you've all practiced your "oh, isn't this nice" faces to the extent that you may require electroshock just to unhinge your jaw post receiving what you're almost certain is crotchless underwear categorized conveniently under the Lolita fashion tag on eBay. Improperly tagged items aside, Grams thinks you're a pervert. I know you'll all soldier on. Because that's what Lolitas do. Sure, it's in spite of participating in a fashion with a name that will make anyone with the vaguest knowledge of literary classics call CPS, the aforementioned being a contingency that should leave you generally safe in the US, and all those pastel prints do come at the cost of having most of your parents wonder just where they went wrong in raising what they're now certain is a gaggle of daddy issues and doll-like disassociation with the basic tenets of reality. Lolitas can deal. That is, unless you've decided to wear a mismatched underskirt because that is a sin against all that is good in the world, and so help me, we will shove those cat ears so far up your chimney you'll be coughing up fur balls for a week. Santa can stuff his coal where the sun doesn't shine. This fashion is no place for the faint of heart. And if you don't mind, I don't yet have enough Xanax to deal with being roused ungodly early just to watch a bunch of misfits I'm semi-related to swap consumer-grade bullshit for reasons they're pretty sure have something to do with the mandatory participation in a capitalistic ritual wherein human sweat and tears go into mass-produced goods pumped into the markets to feed off the desperation or anxiety of a population petrified into participating on pain of social censure. Or because Jesus said so. Fuck if I know. Merry Christmas, you guys. Because that's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you for watching Last Week Lolita News, and be sure to tune in next time when we tackle the tough questions like, is Angelic Pretty watching too much Princess Tutu? Has their war with BTSSB gone too far? And seriously, are you fucking drunk? Please seek help, AP. This isn't like you. Next time on Last Week Lolita News. This has been Tyler. You've been watching Scarfing Scarves, and I'll catch you next time. Hey there, thanks for listening to what I think might be my most cumbersomely scripted episode to date. I'd like to extend a gigantic thank you to my patrons whose support has been the only reason I haven't been stalking the streets at night in a wanton search for blood and narcotics. And should you not be wasted on the rocks of general overindulgence from the consumer imperative to spend money, you can drop by the LWLN Patreon to keep this show running along tracks I'm almost certain leads to the utter ruin of this reporter as an upright human human being. Or at least some repressed memories down the line. Merry Christmas, you guys. Happy Hanukkah. And may you happy holidays types sleep well with the fact that your attempted inclusion has all the effect on the alienation of the other 4,000 plus religions as a fly's weight on the butt of a Christmas camel. From one atheist to whatever the fuck you are, Merry Christmas, and I'll see you in 2017. Thanks again, guys, and I'll catch you next time on Last Week Lolita News.